Hey guys, this is the decorative tack tutorial and we're getting right into the prep work, where here I am prepping the bias tape, which we are making from black velvet, and this is 1.5 inch bias tape. And what I did was I took the fabric, the way it was cut, and I folded that in half and I cut a square out of that half. When it's folded into a triangle, I use that triangle and then cut diagonally on the bias to create strips, and each strip is 1.5 inches, and right there you can see that I'm making 45-degree angles so that I can sew each strip together. So once all of the strips are sewn together, then I have a long bias tape, and then I can use that when I'm applying my decorative tacks. So we are narrowing down this chair. Today we're doing the decorative tacks, and I have made some bias tape, which I'm just going to fold as I tack. And so I showed you how to do the strips, which is the same as how we do piping. So this is the piping for the cushion, and that will be our next step after I finish this. And so what I do is I just take the bias tape and I fold those two sides in half like that, and then that I fold in half. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the tack right into the middle, and that is going to go into our chair, and that's going to tack it down and make it look all nice and completed and hide all of my staples. So what I'm going to do is mark out the spacing, because we're going to do 1.5 inches, and I want to make sure the spacing is correct. So I have, I made a little jig. It's just a piece of paper, 1.5 inches by 1.5 inches, so that I can measure all of the spacing. So if I have, and this is just like an erasable white pencil for marking fabric, and I'm just gonna make some marks on the chair. So I'm gonna have one on each corner, and then we're gonna do 1.5 inches. And this is just so when I put the tacks in, they're all going to be equally spaced. It's going to look really nice and neat. It's important to kind of map out ahead of time, because if you start tacking and then you get to the point, you get to the end, it's not matching up, or you have like a huge gap and then it looks weird. So just take the time to mark everything out first, because you'll thank yourself later when it's all ready to go and then you're done and you don't have to take any tacks out. This was just a mock-up that I had created. I need to see how things are going to look before I do them, so I'll create a mock-up, and I tried a couple different trims. Like I had a gold trim as a mock-up, and I also had the decorative tack trim, and because I wanted to use the decorative tacks, I decided to use them. So we can these are the ones reused from the chair. Some of them are not going to be functional, like this one is super bent. You can make a jig to re-bend them, but I feel that like once these are bent, they're gonna pretty much break soon. So I have some replacement ones that we're gonna use, and they match pretty good, so you shouldn't notice a difference. So we'll take our jig, or take our mock-up out. I'm now going to start from the opposite side of the chair, just to make sure that everything's still gonna work and is symmetrical. Exactly perfect, but it's not noticeable. It's about like 1/8 of an inch out, so I think we'll be able to work with that. So some tools we're gonna need for this job are a tack hammer, and you can get a tack hammer that doesn't have a nylon tip and has 2 metal tips. One's magnetic and one's not. Some people swear by that because the metal helps to drive the nail in easier. I like to start mine with the metal and then switch to the nylon because I feel that depending on the quality of the tack, sometimes it either dents the tack or it scratches it, and so I want to try to minimize that. I think maybe for really experienced upholsterers who are like the best at doing decorative tacks, they can use all metal and not even get a scratch on there.
27 hearts beat.
What we've been using here to apply these decorative tack, is an upholstery tack hammer, and this is a Osborne. It has a magnetic tip, that's that one, and a nylon tip. These are really good because when you're holding the tip of the tack like that, the round tip is small enough to be able to hit it without smashing your fingers every time, and that allows you to like drive it in really nice with the metal tip. And then you can use the nylon tip if you want. Sometimes it bounces back, so if you can just hammer it home with the metal tip, it works a lot better. And generally you can get most of them in without damaging the nail as well, but you have the nylon tip just in case it's not going in, and then you can just smash it in with that. So some of these are the ones we pulled out of the chair. So some of them are like a little bent, so like that one's bent. And because we want to try to reuse these so we can salvage them so we don't have to use more, I'm just gonna try to bend it back slightly. All you need is a little bit of straightness just to be able to get it in, and that would be like good enough. Perfect. And then we can reuse that tack. You can like make a special jig to straighten out your tacks, but that works fast and good. I've also been using this regulator, and this has a round flat end and a pointy tip. This is just to tuck the fabric in places, make it nice and neat. tuck that in, keep our bias tape the right width, and just like tuck all the other bits in. So that's really handy to have handy. So we have a hammer, a regulator, our clamps to straighten out the nails. I do have some replacement nail heads, and that's because we won't be able to salvage every single one of these, so it's nice to have some extra on hand. Also, I have just some puller tools, my staple puller and a staple lifter, and this is just in case we have to like remove one of those tacks because it goes sideways and we don't like it like that, or the head pops off and we need to remove the nail because that happens. I also have a Jenga block. This is really handy actually. Sometimes if my nail gets out of whack, I can use it as a wedge and just put it back into place to keep everything nice and straight and in line. So it's nice to have a little assistant block like that. And that's pretty much all you need to do decorative tacks. Besides a spacing tool, which we've gone over because we've already pre-spaced all of our spaces to do the tacks. So now we're gonna continue on with finishing tacking this chair.
Evince. 27 hearts beat.
And that's it for this process, y'all. There's one more video in this series, how to sew a box cushion, so check that out. And thanks so much for hanging out with me for this video of how to apply decorative tacks. Don't forget to like and subscribe this video if you enjoyed it. Thanks for watching.